Hello, hello. Welcome to the live chat. Hello, hello. Well, I cannot believe it. I got my slides up. I got my coffee, got me a bottle of water. I'm actually on and broadcasting, I think. Yeah, reasonably started on time. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, happy Saturday to one and all. Let's see. Miss S, welcome to the live chat. Good to know that you're here. There we go, Miss S. Also, I want to say I saw a new member before. There we go. Mama Jane became a YouTube member. Thank you, Mama Jane. Welcome to Royal Sussex. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll back in the other direction, and I'm going to say good morning to Patricia Starkey. Yeah, no relations, are you? That sounds very familiar. The David's, is it David Starkey? You're no relation to him, I hope. I mean, if you are, that's cool. I mean, you've probably been related to him for 1,000 years. I'm not going to start that, you guys. But anyway, welcome to the Royal Sussex. Anna Espinoza, Kanitha Ash, Sassy G Green Thumb. Oh, okay. We'll see about that. Who else? Lisa. Hey, Church Nelly. Lydia. Welcome. And Annie Bullard is here. Wow, you guys, it's going so fast. I think I'm just going to. Hey, Susie Q. I'm going to just get to the conversation. Okay, there's 232 of you in here. That's good enough for me. Welcome. Happy Saturday. We'll have us a little tea today. Okay. Let me have a sip right now. Very good. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm drinking coffee, but tea for all intent and purposes is okay. All right, so let me get rid of her. And welcome again, new members. All right. So, I think this side will start. Yes, so they were willing to lie to protect other members of the family, but they weren't willing to tell the truth to protect me and my husband. So we're just doing like a little recap of the week. It seems like it was a pretty busy week. I mean, especially with everything going on in Europe, we've had some conversations about colorism. I'm not going to get into that one again today. We can do that another time because that got very, very deep. And then, of course, about the way that the migrants, or I'm sorry, I guess we shouldn't call them migrants. Okay, the people escaping from Ukraine especially people of color, the way they were treated. They were simply trying to go to another country so they could seek rescue. And because they're people of color, I think some people have the assumption that they were trying to, I don't know, get to Poland so that they can set up shop there. But a lot of these people of color, in particular, people from Jamaica and people from Africa, they were actually in Ukraine as students. And then there were some people who were there to start a new life. And they just simply wanted to escape the carnage like everybody else. And that turned into a very deep conversation. And you know what, guys? I'm glad for that. I'm glad that we can have the very serious chats and the messy all in the same Royal Sussex. Hey, B10 pal, welcome. Please tell me you're not working today. Please tell me you're not at work today. Okay. Bernadine Robinson, haven't seen you on here for a while. I'm sure you've been listening though, right? Okay. Hi, Myra. Leticia Malone. Welcome. Okay, so you guys, I made a video yesterday. It's an edited video. Okay. I'm not I'm not going to have one of my food truck meltdowns. You know what? I got a feeling the sound is a little low, so let me check just in case. Okay, it doesn't look so bad, but I'm going to just turn it up a notch. Okay, so, and if I say okay one more time, please give me a thumbs down, okay? Okay, so I'm going a little heavy on the okays, but you can see on your screen right now, there is one of my favorite new edits. As you know, I love to edit photos, right? And so I thought it would be really cool if I include that in the video. So if you haven't seen the video, it is just called More Photos of Meghan and Harry. And it really features Meghan and Harry, or Harry and Meghan, wearing their, well, of course, in Harry's case, his tuxedo, which was designed by an African American designer. And Meghan's gown was also designed by another African American designer. So, for the NAAPC Image Awards, um, they decided to make sure that their fashions would showcase um, an up and coming, or, not as well known designers. But although I have to say that the guy that designed Megan's dress, he is like the darling of the fashion community right now. So I think a lot of people know him by name. So what is it? Christopher Jones Rogers, something like that. Anyway, I shouldn't call him an up and comer because I think he's been at it for a while, and that a lot of people know him, and a lot of stars are wearing his fashions. Christopher John Rogers, that's his name. Okay, so I'm going to take a glance at some of your comments. They are coming fast and furious, but Sestrin Cece wants to say hello to everyone, so I'm going to help her out. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Raspberry Spice, good morning, afternoon. Baron, do you know everyone in the chat? I'm here with my cup of tea, English, of course, listening to you. Raspberry Spice, thank you so much. I think this is the first time I'm seeing your name here, so if I have before, please forgive me. But anyway, I'm glad you're here, so that's very nice. Joan Garcia, welcome to the live chat. Baron, I saw those photos. They were good. Thank you so much. Of course, the credit goes to the photographers, but I just organized them so that anytime you need an escape from all of the troubles of the world, um, without my input, without any talk of, you know, anything bad happening to the Sussexes, I think it's good sometimes just to enjoy images of them. So I'm going to try to do another one of those very soon. I also made one for the red gown, and I want to say that's probably the only two that I've made that were just, no talk, just the Sussexes Sussexing. But that's that. Like I said, it lowers my blood pressure. Let me see. Thank you, Elaine Parker. I have one more foot surgery scheduled. I have an antibiotic spacer in my foot right now. Sonia Alexander, if they give you something for pain, call me. Call me. Call me if they give you something for pain. Okay, now Mr. Rogers will be known by regular people like me. Miss S, there's nothing regular about you. You are exceptional in every way possible. I won't hear that. Okay. The look wonderful at the, I'm sorry. Okay, that should be they looked wonderful at the NAACP award. The black designer got it right. Oh yeah, that gown is delicious. Baron, I love your presentation video and music wise. Thank you, B10 pal. Baron, you answered my question a couple of times last week. One of my questions you said was very good. Really? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. But yeah, sometimes I don't actually look at the names. I'm sorry. I look at the questions, and it's so much going on when you're trying to do the live that you'll be. Let me put it to you like this: if you know me, you wouldn't be amazed at stuff that I miss. And if you don't know me, then you'll be amazed at stuff that I miss. Um, you know how when you're a kid and your mama say, boy, you can't see the past the nose on your face. That would be me. Okay. Yes, Church Nelly. Actually I was listening to Miss VSN, but I was making breakfast and working on today's live chat, so I didn't actually say hello to everyone, but I was listening in, and I think I heard mention of Johnny Brown, aka Mr. Bookman, aka Booger. Real only used to call him Booger. Okay, Felicia Mosley, Baron, pain medication and tea, breakfast, lunch, dinner of champion. Don't I know it? Don't I know it? It's not that I'm getting older, I'm just becoming more arthritic. Okay. For me, W.E.B. Du Bois, double consciousness is at play with the Ukraine situation. I have empathy for the Ukrainians and anger regarding the treatment of fellow Black people. Yeah, Pamela Porter, I have to say, the emotion that I had for the start of the war kept me up at night. And now the disappointment that I have has given me a totally different type of feeling. And I spoke a little bit about my experience in, traveling in Eastern Europe. And, well, my big attraction to Eastern Europe comes from the old spy movies. um I even saw that movie Unbearable Likeness of Being, which came out back in the 80s, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was the 1980s, where it was supposed to be a doctor that lived in Prague. Daniel Day-Lewis, I believe, was the actor that played the male lead. And so I finally had a chance to get to Eastern Europe. Everything was everything that I wanted it to be. The aesthetics, the people, the food, the kind of damp coldness and gray skies. It was everything that I would have expected if I was in a spy movie. The people, as I mentioned, there's something I call the Eastern European glare, because they're not accustomed to just speaking to strangers on the street. So Um, when we make eye contact here in the US, especially in the South, we speak to one another. Well, that's not very common. And the further you go east in Europe, the less you're likely to have a casual conversation with a stranger. So, me with my big folksy ways from the Midwest, I'm walking around like some typical loud American, and some people were not very receptive to it. Now, I have to say, I was treated very well. Now, I did have a bit of a nightmare story in Budapest, and maybe I'll tell it later, maybe not. It's not so I could make the story shorter, but it was like that deep swallow, that big gulp where I was like, "Oh, here we go. I'm in Eastern Europe." And you know what? I'll just give you a little preview. Everything worked out fine. I found some really nice people that helped me along the way. And I have to tell you, I stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, anybody could look at me, could tell I did not fit into that community, but people were very nice to me. So um, maybe I'll tell the story. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Yes, rest in peace, Johnny Brown. Jennifer Smith. Good day, everyone. Baron, the composition of the photos at the award presentation video was excellent. Thanks again. We'll keep watching, encouraging. Well, Jennifer Smith, I had to tell you, I was up all night. And if you guys were awake when I posted those videos, the more I got into it, the more I wanted to do. And so at a certain point, when the image that you see on the screen, I said to myself, I don't just want to throw it up there. I want to make it interesting, kind of, campy and cool looking. So I want to make it a little interesting. So I decided to do like, the old classic, like Zenith television. And so that's how that came about. I see somebody's glad to hear me talk about Europe. Don't hate the hustle, Church Nelly. You'll get there one day. And listen, that moonshine that you got going in your backyard there, they got plenty of it over there. Let us feel compassion for all the victims of war, whatever origins, color, religion, violence is not acceptable anywhere. Yes, Elena, you are absolutely right. And that is something that we need to remain grounded about, is that the pain and suffering that someone feels in Kandahar is no different from the pain and suffering that someone would feel in any war torn country or any place where there's civil war. Okay, let's see there. Baron, you are brave to go there. Not me, sorry. Noreen Lovelock, I love to believe that there are good people everywhere. And okay, okay. I see what y'all doing. You all doing that because you're using reverse psychology. You want me to talk about my vacation in Europe. All right, be careful what you ask for. Years ago, a coworker from Boston thought it was strange to say hello to a coworker in the morning here in New York City. Yeah, that's why I said especially in the South. Um, so I actually, um, let's see, I was hosting someone in my home from Croatia, and we went by like a very historic college campus, and really nice place, take photos and everything. And so I'm like showing them around, and I saw these African American ladies walking toward us, and just instinctively I said, "Hello, how y'all doing?" And they spoke to me, and he was like, "Do you know them?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, oh, that would never happen where I come from." I said, "Let me tell you something. If you go south, if anybody passes you on the street, you have to be prepared to talk about your arthritis. You have to talk about the weather. You have to talk about whatever local sports team. Straying away from politics and religion is probably smart, but yeah, you have to talk about those things. If you see somebody with a hood up, you are either supposed to offer to call a tow truck, or if you're a guy, you're supposed to tinker around and help them fix their car. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so it's shocking for some people. And yeah, New York can be a very um I guess cold place sometimes, but I found more friendly people in New York than I have found like the typical pushy New Yorker. But if you all got time, which of course you do, I hope you do, I'm going to tell you a very quick New York story, like my first time in New York. So I wanted to feel a part of it all, right? And so I'm taking the subway, and I'm like lumbering around like some old broke down Cadillac. I mean, just, big, fat, and moving around like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade balloon, right? And I'm like, doing a little two step, trying to take it all in and like, oh, wow, I'm in a New York subway. And then I heard this voice behind me. She sounded just like Judge Judy. She said, "Excuse me, I'm trying to walk here. Do you mind?" And I'm just like, I'm like, wait a minute. Now, who in the is talking to me like that? So I turned around and I looked and I didn't see anybody. Well, that's because this person wasn't no bigger than a minute. I had to look down to see her. She only came up to like my belly button. And she's like shaking her fist at me, telling me that I'm trying to walk. Do you mind getting out of my way? And instead of me being insulted, I'd had the biggest grin on my face because at that point I'm like, hey, hey, I just got yelled at by a New Yorker in New York City. I never felt more a part of anything in my life until that little lady who only came up to my belly button yelled at me, shaking her fists, giving me the what for. Now that's New York. That's what I came to New York for, was so that somebody no bigger than a fly would just yell at me and shake her fist. And that's when you know you're part of it, right? So anyway, let me see this here. A lot has happened in my 67 years that I never thought I would see. A black president, a black princess, and a black female vice president. So proud. A leader portraits as well you should be, as well we all should be. As you guys have probably noticed, I'm like way behind with the comments, but I'm going to try to go fast here and then get to the next slide. What I know is that black people are not welcome in Greece. Let me see, had many racist horses incidents in Athens. I had to catch myself. Never going back. Also had food poisoning. Yeah, for some reason, as bad as I wanted to go to Greece, I haven't been there yet. So I'll probably still go, but um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I know that some African American kid, well, he was, I think he was in his 20s. He was a backpacker and adventurer, and there were some guys from Serbia that he ran into in a bar, and some girl from Serbia, from that Serbian community within Greece, wanted to take a photo with him, and he obliged, and they took exception to the fact that, yeah, as the one witness said, he some guy yelled, "All of these Serbians here, why are you taking a picture with him?" And so words were exchanged, and so the African American kid was smacked or punched or whatever. He tried to avoid the conflict, and once he was cornered, he had to strike back. And if you are familiar with this story, unfortunately, they chased him down the street and they all set upon him and he died. He was beaten to death. And that case is still going on. I believe there were 8 people involved in this case, and that happened in Greece. And initially, they got off with a very light sentence, considering that it was murder. And yeah, so B10 Pal, I know exactly what you're talking about. And believe me, when I travel, I am very deliberate and very smart about where I find myself. I can show you a photo later if I remember. I'll show you a photo of me in Cologne, and there was these big drunken guys walking toward me, and that little voice inside of my head said, "Go the other way, go the other way." Yep. So I did. That goes without saying what many of us feel. Black people experience discrimination even in a war zone. Pamela Porter, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Women and children first is what they said. But then there was also men on the trains. And then, of course, if there was any room after the Asian and Middle Eastern people, then and only then would they allow black women and children and eventually men on the train. So, yep. And if you've seen the deployment of American soldiers that are going to the NATO countries, you'll notice that within those groups of soldiers, there are plenty, and I do mean plenty, African Americans within the ranks. The what is it? The Joint Chief of Staff, or is it the who whatever the highest ranking uniformed? Yeah, I believe it's the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Austin, the guy that introduced Harry. Well, of course, he's African American, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But you know what? Thank goodness that light has been shed upon this situation, and that people are talking about it, and that there shall be some type of response for the people of African descent who have found themselves greatly mistreated during this evacuation of Ukraine. So, okay, I'm going to do a deep scroll and go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to take this away. And next slide. Well, I wasn't finished with the television thing, so I decided to use I'm sorry, Piccadilly Circus. Piccadilly Circus. And of course, I roll, please. I do have a little connection with Piccadilly Circus. My very first time in the United Kingdom, when I got off the plane, I had no idea where I was going. And I saw everybody walking toward the train. And the announcement on the train was, "This is the Piccadilly line to Cockfoster. Mind the gap, please. Piccadilly line to Cockfoster. Mind the gap, please." And I said, huh, I've heard of Piccadilly Circus. So guess what I did? I got on the train with my backpack and I went to Piccadilly Circus. When I got there, I had no idea where I was staying. I had a list of hostels, but this was pre smartphone. So I just couldn't bring up the hostel on my smartphone. V. Thomas, even you're getting in on it. I couldn't bring up my hostel on the smartphone. So I saw this guy with a camera and I said, "Hey, are you a tourist?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, where you staying?" He said, "Just down the road at the Piccadilly Backpackers." "Oh, which way?" He said, "That way." So that's where I ended up staying in London my very first time. Connie Balmer, hello. Whoever your hair strands or you feel on your skin, you are uncomfortable with people around you, ran. Exactly. So I believe you're saying whenever your hair stands up, right? And you feel uncomfortable, take off. I get it. I get it. And that's exactly what I did. I went the other way. Church Nelly, look, I'm gonna take you somewhere. Get your passport and we'll go. God. Okay, so changing gears just a little bit here. Take a look at those people there. Now, you may recognize those as Bobart and Green, whatever. Well, somebody, I didn't do this, by the way. I'm not going to take credit for other people's work. I am not responsible for this, but someone decided to put them with the January 6th shaman. And then somebody else decided to turn them into, I want to say that's Carrie and Pennywise. But either way, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So they are being picked apart on social media for, uh, I guess, heckling President Biden at the State of the Union address. Either way, it was very ignorant and disrespectful. So I thought I would share that with you guys. Found those pics on Twitter. And anyway, next. Okay, so this happened. We had the State of the Union and go girl power. Girl power. At the very start of the Women's History Month, we just happened to have on the very first day of the month the um, vice president and the Speaker of the House standing right there behind the commander in chief. Now, there's just one more glass ceiling to shatter to make this a complete trifecta of women leading this country. I think that if there were more women, actually, I know if there were more women that were presidents and prime ministers and such around this world, there would be less war. There would just be less war. It just would be. It'd have to be. Um, the thing that people get wrong about a woman that is not only intelligent but also in a powerful position is that they get threatened by it. Even other women are like the worst enemy to a woman in power, and they feel threatened. The, the, women are very task orientated by nature, far more than men. Great organizers, great at compartmentalizing things and getting things done. So I can't help but think that if there were more women in power, we would just have less war, plain and simple. And that's it. So um, one more to go. And let's see, we've had Angela Merkel. We've had a few of them in the UK. So we have quite a few more countries to go, but I think the world will be a much better place. So I think more people ought to be open minded about that, and in particular, if if a lot of women would stop being afraid of shattering that glass ceiling, not for themselves. I'm talking about the women who try to discourage them or just won't vote for them or whatever. Okay, Black Queen, you say Miss S took pics at iconic Blue Roof Cathedral, ate authentic gyros, and the water was so pristine blue. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, you stepped out of Piccadilly. Think it was a circus. It would be lost. Yeah, yeah, for you guys that don't know, a circus is, I think that's like old English or something like that. It just means a square. It's like an intersection of roads where they all connect. There's Oxford Circus, and so the Piccadilly Circus is not exactly square. It's not exactly round, but it's where a few like roads or streets convene together, and it's just one of the few open spaces that you can find. And I believe that the Regent Street ends at Piccadilly Circus, or makes its way through Piccadilly, or maybe it starts there and ends someplace else, but anyway, it's a really cool area just to people watch. No, Baron, take Church Nelly to Jordan. Okay. to see the Bedouins, and she'll be in awe at visiting Petra. In fact, that's a challenge. Okay, B10, are there any taverns around there? Because I want to take her someplace where she can have both a very religious experience and some, spiritual. Oh, I'm sorry, some spirits. Spiritual and spirits. I mean, if I take Church Nelly someplace, we have to cover both spiritual and some spirits. Okay. My friend in the medical field said she acts as someone who has been bred from two close relatives. I started to laugh, but she was serious. Okay, at travel, I love to experience the culture as much as possible. I am usually willing to try things once, except bungee jumping. You know what, Miss S? Okay, I don't want to sound like doom and gloom, and that goes for everybody, but just today in Cancun, they reported that a couple were snorkeling and they were pulled into the propellers of the boat that they were, that took them out to the water. When you're traveling, especially if you're older, some activities are not for you, like the bungee jumping. You know, they are more than willing to take your money. They are more than willing to facilitate whatever activity. But some places we go, you are not very likely to receive any compensation, or should I say, your family is not likely to receive any compensation should the worst happen. So I always think about that, whether it's riding a bike or whatever. I always think about, can I survive this vacation if I fall or if I'm injured? So that's all I'm saying is don't ruin your vacation trying to, live like you're some type of vlogger or something like that, especially if you're older. But believe me, take some caution. Those people, when they went out there snorkeling, they didn't know that was going to happen. And these are only the events that we hear about. Got it? So thanks for saying that, Miss S, because I was meaning to bring that up at some point, but you helped me segue that. Hope you do come back to the UK. You will be most welcome. Love you to bits for speaking for the silent majority here who dislike our right wing press for misrepresenting Brits and our love for Harry and Meghan. God's child, I don't want you guys to go into a panic when I say this. I have absolutely no connection at all to Prince Charles or any of those people. But I'm like one of the only the only squatties that could say that I've been to Dumfries' house, where all that stuff happened. I was just curious about it because I saw it on television. I swear, I have nothing to do with the cash for honors or any of that stuff. But to show you how much I got involved with everything, I've even been to Dumfries' house of all places. And when all that stuff with cash for honors came out, I was just like, wow. But yeah, I had a lovely time in the UK. Okay, true. That's why I like travel out of England as much as I can. Researching Panama, Costa Rica, Aruba. Cool. All right. Going to, let me see, Raspberry Spice. You said, Baron, if you knew me, then you would have stayed with me as I live not far from Piccadilly Circus. Wow, the number 12 bus takes you straight to my door. All right. No, so next time I'm going over there, you should make sure you remind me. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys one of my secrets to staying healthy when I travel. Now you guys are gonna scoff at this, but I'm gonna tell you. I usually travel on a shoestring. I don't do anything too extravagant, especially when it comes to food. Most of the time, I find myself eating fast food, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't have a lot of time to sit around in restaurants when I'm traveling. I'll have breakfast usually at McDonald's or Burger King. Every city I go to, I want to have one really good meal of the local dish. But other than that, I mostly eat from the fast food restaurants. And there's a method to my madness. As much as we love to hate McDonald's, you're not going to get food poisoning from McDonald's. You're just not. It's not well, I don't want to say anything to have McDonald's come after me, but you're just not likely to get food poisoning from McDonald's. Certain kind of food, I like to know how it's cooked. So I'll have that one good meal, but mostly I eat at the chain restaurants. Even if it's a chain for that country, I'll eat at that chain restaurant because I kind of trust their handling of the food more than I would some of those little holes in the wall where street food is what I'm saying. So some people may have never had a problem with that. Cool. I'm just saying I prefer to do that. Yeah, Letitia, I hear what you're saying, and that's a fair criticism. I understand. But when you're on the road, especially, you could spend 2 or 3 hours in, a sit down restaurant or something like that. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I'm on some excursion. Like when I was in London, I would go to the Victoria station, I hop on the bus, and next thing you know, I'm at Downton Abbey or I'm in Bath or something like that. So I don't want to consume a large part of my day trying to find, you know, all of these food experiences when I could actually be out taking photographs and such. That's just my preference. But you know what? I understand people may have I don't usually spend a whole week in one city. I would rather, if I got 10 days, let's say if I'm in Europe for 10 days, I would rather go to like three different cities and see as much as possible rather than, having that one activity a day or something like that. If you prefer to travel another, but I'm just giving you guys some ideas. Consider that. Have that one good meal in that town that they're famous for. Try to eat, fast foods or, something that, yes, you like you're at work. Try to eat like you would on your regular work day, and you'll have more time to do other stuff. Well, B10, let's see. There you go, B10. Thank you. Initially I wanted to make a travel channel, and somehow I heard the calling for the Sussex squad to have more voices, and that's how I ended up here. So maybe one day I'll actually do that. But anyway, let me go to my next slide. Okay. Um yeah, I mean, my way of doing things is oh yeah, these few slides I wanted to just again say is Women's History Month, and it had a great, start with the State of the Union, and of course the open letter from the Duchess of Sussex, and oh, why is my brain like fogging right now? What is her name? Oh, wait. Anita Hill. Noreen Lovelock, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker and happy Saturday to you. And B10, it looks like you've been a member for how long? I'm trying to find it. I just saw that. I want to highlight it. I lost it. The comments are going very fast. Okay, B10. I do see that though, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. And all right, God's child, thank you so much for the super sticker. Cheers. Cheers. Many happy returns of the day. Thank you very much for that. And again, everybody, Happy Women's History Month. Hopefully, we can highlight a lot more. Okay. And thank you, Yulita Amorosa, for the super sticker. Happy Women's Happy Women's History Month and happy Saturday to you. And thank you again for the super sticker. Okay, so there we have the four um I guess agencies that the Sussexes are supporting. So I didn't want to skip past that and not mention the ones that they're supporting. So I don't know if they have links on the Archwell website, but if you choose to support some of the places that the Sussexes are supporting right now, remember, when you want to know that you have the authentic website or the authentic, like, agency, whatever. If you want to know it's authentic, go to a trusted site. So, of course, we all trust the Archwell site. So, I would say if you go to Archwell and look for a link there or some other trusted source, like, for instance, a news agency. Like, if you trust ABC News and you want to contribute for, say, Ukraine or something like that, make sure you go to their website, go to the official website, and then that way you won't be subject to any fraud or something like that. And also, I wanted to say something about fraud that all of us need to know. Okay. So, first, let me highlight Bernadine Robinson. Thank you so much. Happy Saturday. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for supporting Royal Sussex. Okay. Um, Give me a thumbs up if you guys have heard this. There has been a fraud perpetuated against people who use the phone app Zelle. Have you guys seen that? Um, because I was born in the 60s and some of y'all were born in the 50s, that is like my biggest demographic, the 50s and the 60s. And some of y'all may have even been born before that. So, why am I saying this? Zelle, oh, you've heard about it, huh? Janet Lavalley, you've heard about it. They Someone may call your phone number and it looks very official. It'll say that it's from Zelle. And they will tell you that there has been a fraud on your account. Now, as you know, if you bank with some of the larger banks, Zelle may be linked to your account. And they will tell you, and I hope I'm getting this right, but anyway, Google Zelle fraud whenever you get a chance to. Bank of America was hit, and then I want to say Wells Fargo was the next one. So, because we're older, we have to look out for each other, right? And some of y'all younger ones on here, there's quite a few of y'all too. We have to look out for each other. So, they will tell you that there's been an attempt at fraud, and then they will have you change the phone number linked to your Zelle account with a phone number they give you. And before you can say jumping jack flash, you might have $3 left in your checking account. This is a very, very dangerous thing. And sometimes the banks will refund, sometimes they're not refunding. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I make this public service announcement. If somebody calls you to tell you that there's some kind of fraud, that's your first red flag. If you have the ability to check your bank balance on your phone app, make sure you do that before you do anything else. Even if you just hang up the phone, check your balance and make sure it's what it should be. And then you won't even have to second guess whether or not it was something fraudulent that is occurring to your account. Because in real time, you'll know nobody's touched my account. That person who just tried to call me was obviously trying to commit a fraud. So, um, yeah, yeah. And I saw that it's heartbreaking when stuff like that happens, and they get more and more clever about these things. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't get off of this chat today without mentioning that. Thank you so much, Brenda Temple, for the super sticker. Happy Saturday to you. And thank you for watching. Y'all ready for it? Royal Sussex. I don't know why it seems better to say it so breathy like that. And thank you, Junie Albert, for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And thank you for your support of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. All of you, thank you for supporting the Sussexes. That's what we're here for. Cookies and Cream says, I'm not surprised. They have no originality or ingenuity. Oh, you're making me use big words, Cookies and Cream. Whatsoever, they have no meaningful impact. They're truly irrelevant. Oh, see, I knew I was messed that up, and they know it. That's why they are going after the Sussexes. You better tell them. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. All right, you guys. As you know, some of you all took exception to the fact that I made fun of Naomi Campbell. And I understand why, because Naomi, you know what? And I'm going to tell you, they say when you're wrong, don't say nothing. And I'm not saying I was wrong to make fun of her because she makes fun of this situation herself. But when they said that she didn't throw a bell phone, it was a smartphone. Well, I found the best of both worlds. Yes, I was wrong. I thought it was a bell telephone, but it was a smartphone. So what I found was something that is an old school smartphone. As you can see, it has texting, it has a camera, it has the old rotary dial, there's a clock, there's even a power source so that you can ring the other line. Now you must think to yourself, I'm sure that phone weighs at least 50 pounds. But that's a supermodel. That's not just a model, she's a supermodel. She has super strength, superhero strength. It would be no problem for Naomi Campbell to lift that phone up and heave it at your head. So, like I say, y'all don't mess with her here. Didn't I just say I wasn't gonna make fun of her? And what did I do? I still did it. Darn it. But yeah, okay. But this is the point that I was trying to get to. So I went back and I watched the Oprah Winfrey, the one where she spoke about her problems, and you remember where she said, "Come on out, Naomi Campbell." I didn't have to do that. I just wanted to. Um, but yeah, so I watched that again, and I have to say that it's true that Naomi Campbell had some real big problems, and I forgot I'd seen it before, but I forgot that she had some issues with her mother, and that they had recently resolved, or at least had conversations, or maybe even counseling about the fact that Naomi Campbell was hurting, so a lot of the acting out came from a place of hurt. And that is true of so many people's stories. So she has worked really hard to try and, you know, straighten out her reputation, right? So while that doesn't prevent me from having fun with it, I just want you guys who have defended her to know I did go back and take a second look at the Oprah Winfrey interview, which I saw years ago, and there was a lot of things that I had totally forgotten about. And anyway, she was very contrite and remorseful for the way she behaved, and yeah, so anyway, that was that. I just wanted you guys to know that we're defending her, that I did go back and I did look at the particular interview just so that I could make sure that I understood things the way they were and not the way that time had kind of changed it a bit. So, but yeah, I subscribe to that thing where she interviewed people. I like Naomi Campbell, so I don't want you all to think that I got an in for her. Now, Wendy Williams, I would never watch her. Wendy Williams, she has never had a aha moment where she ever would find some type of understanding or forgiveness from me. But um, I couldn't I don't think I could ever have a conversation with someone and say, "Oh, I really like her." That's not gonna happen because, she was that was her bread and butter. She had nothing at least Naomi Campbell is a has a career other than bashing people. But Wendy Williams, not so much. That's her bread and butter is, who can I bash today? So yeah. Anyway, so that's that. If you have any additional thoughts about that, go ahead and share it now. Otherwise, we'll move on and listen. No promises. I'll probably have some fun with her at another time or day. We'll see how it goes. Oh, yes, don't start. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? And people deserve a chance to redeem themselves, and she has done the work. You have to say she has done the work. And there was a lot of insecurities that she suffered, like so many people in our own personal private lives. And there's some people that I know that are horrendous with people around them, including me, and they can be very brutal sometimes. But when you love that person and you identify that fragility and you understand that it's coming from a source of pain, then it's not that personal any longer. It's not really what you're doing to the people around you. Is what are you doing to yourself that becomes a big issue. So yeah. So anyway, let me see. Gosh, I hope I didn't disconnect myself from the chat again. Okay, yeah, I see Audrey Teschner. It's just not scrolling the way that I want it to scroll. It's kind of stuck a bit. Okay. Are we? All right. There we go. B10, you say. Oh, let's go with Endesa Butler. You need to let that person know NAACP is a civil rights organization in the United States, formed in 1909, and it is a interracial endeavor to advance justice for African Americans. You're probably speaking of that reporter that used the two S's to try to identify that organization. Yeah. I don't think she wants to know what the organization is about. I think that that person was trying to be very coy by using the two S's as if the NAACP is some kind of subversive group. Okay, Wendy went underground after the Tabitha Brown smackdown. Yes, Sharon Jones, she did. Tabitha Brown, boy, I tell you, that was the epic takedown, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I'm not embarrassed and I'm not too big to ever say that I got it wrong or that I need to have more clarity about something. And to be fair, I didn't actually assume that she threw a real Bell telephone. I thought it was a smartphone, but um whatever it was, she was in a moment uh, and I'm going to tell you something that I've felt about celebrities for a long time. And maybe I'm giving too many people a free pass when I say this, but could you imagine if every day you wake up, everybody wants an audience with you and everybody expects you to give them some type of financial help or favor to change the rest of their lives. That's a lot of responsibility for one person to have every day of the week. Do you guys remember when Oprah Winfrey sat down with her lawyers and her family? And Oprah said that she told her family through her attorneys and from her own voice at that table, at that conference, that this is a one time gift. Stop asking me for money. And it seems like, oh, that's rich folks' problems. That's rich folks' problems. But that's still a lot. And I don't suppose that just because Naomi Campbell has this reputation, that she hasn't suffered um, at someone trying to undermine her. And that's what she said in the interview. She said she felt like she was being undermined. And she said some days she just didn't know who she could trust. And sometimes she would act out. And she said it was not right and that she regretted it almost immediately, especially when the police got there. I had to go there, okay? Especially when the popo showed up. Of course she regretted it. But no, I take her at her word. So we'll leave that where it is for now. I'm cleaning and listening to this awesome podcast. When I heard the name Wendy Williams, I had to give my 2 cents. Okay, Ty Fletcher. That's fair. And Yvonne Clark, you said someone hijacked my Amazon account. All my emails went to them. Bought a $900 camera and sent it to their address. I got my refund. They are getting arrested. Good. It makes you feel vulnerable, doesn't it? I mean, that's just such a violation. I hate that that happened to you. That's such a violation. It's things like that that truly rob us of our innocence, and I hate when stuff like that happen. Now, I had a good turn from Amazon one time, and I've spent enough money with Amazon that they seem to know me. And if you guys have a lost or stolen package or something like that, I've had this happen with or damage package. I had this happen with Target. They actually told me to keep something that I was gifting to another person from Target because over the years anytime that I could avoid using that other big, big box retailer, I usually try to go to Target because, Target, um, I like Target and I want to support them. So I try to avoid the bigger store chain whenever possible. And so over the years, my HD camera, several Apple devices, and I'm talking about since like 2005, maybe, yeah, about 2005, 2007, I exclusively purchased appliances or electronics from Target because I definitely don't want to buy like, counterfeit stuff by trying to save money. And so when they damage something, they said you can donate it, you can keep it, or you can toss it. Just like that. And they said, we can refund you or we'll send you a new one. I said, okay, I'll take the refund. And then I ended up buying something else. And the same with Amazon. They lost my office chair. Well, the thing is, they didn't deliver it to my place, they sent it someplace else. And then the other place called me and said, hey, we got something for you. But at that point, Amazon had already refunded me. They said, if the chair shows up, keep it. So essentially, I got a free office chair. But let me tell you, I spent a lot of money to get that kind of favor from Amazon, but they were very cool about it. So it pays to be honest, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, B10 Pow, dogged out Whitney Houston. Yes, H Night. I cannot unhear Wendy Williams making a mockery of Whitney Houston. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave that alone because that always makes me very emotional. I was so angry about that. So angry. That and the way that she would try to make the Duchess of Sussex sound like she was so sly and conniving. So, anyway, y'all can talk about it if you want to. I got to leave that one alone because then I start getting like, that tightness in the throat when I think about Wendy's attacks on Whitney Houston and the Duchess of Sussex. And there's been a few other people. I didn't like the way she talked about Beyonce either. I mean, just, and it has to be women of color that she treats the worst, as if African American women don't have enough going on. You got Wendy Williams as the ringleader. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. Okay, next. Uh huh. Joyce Bolt, true, 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 true. Um, okay. Oh boy, isn't got hot in here. Fatima Ba, you say, Yvonne, someone did something like that to my brother-in-law. He was so furious and couldn't believe people's audacity to something like that. Yeah. Oh boy, yeah, I hate when stuff like that happen. That's why I said I have to mention that Zale thing because I would hate to see something like that happen to anybody and that I could have said something and I didn't. So if you guys are not clear about what happened, if I didn't explain it properly, please just Google it or you can find a few videos on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Looked out their windows. Okay. Avery J. Cindy Crawford was known to be rude. A photographer for Revlon said she was the rude model he met, but no one is higher than that. I mean, no one's highlighting that, but we all remember the minuscule things Naomi has done. Yeah, that's true. Cindy Crawford, I don't know that she's ever had that reputation. And that's like you said, it's because nobody has highlighted that. But the angry black woman trope seems to be a favorite of certain sectors of the media. Boy, I'm sounding so on top of it today. Anytime that happens, I always suspect that, hello, Ivy here. I always suspect Ivy is near. That's my sixth sense. I can tell when Ivy's close. Is a despicable woman. She and Piss Morgan are two of a kind. Karma has called on her, but I have nothing for her. Yeah, Pierce Morgan is very, even Robert Jobson, that's what amazed me, is that Robert Jobson even said that Pierce Morgan had this innate ability to at least he would try to make everything about himself, which is why he and Trump got along so well, is because you know how Trump always seemed to be the victim of everything that has ever happened. And simultaneously, he's the hero of everything that ever goes right. Incredible, right? So, yeah, two of a kind, absolutely. Okay. Some people wouldn't change the rest of their lives. A lot of them will spend the money given on Friday before Monday. Great observation. And shall you say, let's see, yeah, they want to have the same bag let me see, they want to have the same bag the celebrities have. The reporters on many sport grounds forcing Mike in front of their faces right after playing. Yeah, that I believe that's what some of the um, athletes were saying is that after having these sports matches or games or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to sit poised and give this interview that is, it's kind of like um, having been in a high tension, stressful situation, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to compose yourself. I think that if a person just had a good shower, um, hydrate, and all those other things, and then, maybe the next day even, then get in front of the microphone. But just like right after the game, right after someone may have thrown fruit onto the field or made animal noises at you, or maybe the officials seem to, have a bias towards you, that's the worst possible time to have to get in front of a microphone because a lot of athletes are terribly mistreated. Okay, Avery, just imagine the battle Naomi used to fight as one of the few models back in the 1990s with what she has gone through all the race horses. I am glad she has survived and flourished. I am too. I am too. And I watch you guys. I'm going to tell you one of the best things I've ever seen on YouTube was when I watched Naomi Campbell interview Iman. It was She was so humble and so kind, and so the way she celebrated Iman's like position as like one of the first black supermodels, it was incredible. I watched it and I was just in awe. And I think Naomi did a great job with that interview. Um, I could listen to Iman all day. I love Iman, but it was a great interview. So, like I told you guys, I actually have watched her program, and you know, I have to say, in that moment, I didn't even think about any of this stuff. It was the last thing that I was thinking of, because all I was looking at was this successful African American woman role model. I wasn't thinking of like scandal or something like that, which shows that she's made great progress. That you can look at her or listen to her do an interview or something like that, and you don't instantly go to the scandal. With Wendy Williams, you don't forget. You can still like hear it, it lingers on the palate, as they say. Tell hackers, if they're going to go into my account, put some money into the account. Sheila Watson, I'm with you. I used to tell people, I don't care who gets my social security number. If you can do something with it, just give me my cut. That's all I can say. If you can do something with my number, fine, but just give me a cut, because I ain't been able to do nothing. Not a thing. If somebody used my social security number, I think that they probably alert the Secret Service. You know, the Secret Service, they're the ones that actually monitor, fraudulent activities and stuff. So I think if somebody ever tried to get something with my social, the Secret Service will be on you. And when I say on you, I mean all over you like a cheap suit. Uh, Especially when the stupid audience was laughing at Megan with the big bully. Yeah, yeah, Oh boy. Yeah, she. Ooh. Yes, yes. Okay. Good afternoon, Church Nelly. Okay, so gonna do a big scroll because I'm so way behind. I want to see what Vetty has to say. Hi, Baron and Squad. He's not exactly late. I'm listening, but couldn't sign in because I'm a diabetic and was sorting myself out. Well, Betty, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you got everything sorted. And I hope you're feeling okay, and happy Saturday to you. Okay. Okay, I'm going to just scroll all the way because I'm super, super behind. Rory, you said, I know exactly what you are sensing about those two S's. Is that? That troll AL reference, let me see, that was very low class, ignorant. Anyone of Jewish descent would cringe at what she tried to incite. Huh. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but I'm going to go. But interesting. Catwalk was everything. Still watch old tapes. She was fierce. Others have tried, but no one. Have you seen Miss S? Have you seen her mother? When I was watching the Oprah, and her mother didn't pass away, I don't think, right? I don't think so. But yeah, I saw her mother on Oprah, and that was like an old video. And her mother was absolutely gorgeous. I was like, that's her mom? I was like, that's somebody's mama? Anytime I see someone that's like, mother daughter, or if I see someone who looks exceptionally young, even though they're like obviously an older person, I'm like, that's somebody's mother. um, Naomi has her home. I saw that, Reba Henderson. I saw it. I saw like the big open floor plan. I saw that place. It's like the only thing, Reba, that I have to say about Naomi's African home there is that any place I go, I don't care if it's hot, but when I'm in the house, and especially when I'm in, when I need to sleep, I need some AC. I don't want to, I need some AC. I can deal with everything during the day, but I got to have AC. and I'm not sure. I remember she said something about all of the bedrooms had air conditioning or something like that. I think that's what she said, but I have to have AC. AC is without AC, that's a deal breaker. I am a typical American. I want Starbucks, I want McDonald's, and I want AC. Okay. I expect to find that every place I go. Otherwise, I think there's no civilization to be found, especially the Starbucks. Okay, so changing gears a bit. Here is the dress of the year. The Birmingham, I think it's the Birmingham Art Museum or Fashion Institute. They made this. Wait, it's not Versace. Is not Oscar de la Renta. It's a. Oh my goodness, I forgot what it was. What is it? What is it? Anyway, okay, I'm saying somebody it's okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. It's not a it's oh, it's a Dior. It's a Christian Dior Avery J. Thank you. Oh boy, it's finally somebody could take a hint. I'm just like it's Armani. That sounds right. Armani. Belinda what is that? Pendragon? Pendragon? That's right. It's Armani. That sounds familiar to me. Thank you for picking up what I was putting down. I was just like it's and nobody paid me any attention. But that's what it is. It's an Armani. So this is what I found out from looking at that video. The white applique that you see there is actually white with a little bit of I guess like a seafoam blue or something like that. It's an orchid. Those are orchids. And the orchid is symbolic of a new start. So, as we all know, the Duchess of Sussex uses a lot of symbolism in her fashion and jewelry selections. So, this white orchid was symbolic of a new beginning, a fresh start. So that is exactly why. And as you guys know, I'm going to tell you, you probably have seen it already. The Duchess of Sussex has worn white a lot because white is symbolic of women's rights, right? Of women's equality. That's why when she first went to Westminster Abbey, she wore the beret and the white coat dress because that's symbolic of women's equality. So there's always some type of symbolism in her fashions. Buckingham Palace to investigate claims Meghan was bullied staff. And then, of course, that actually was 3 days well, not 3 days, it was, what was it, 4 days before the famous Oprah Winfrey interview. The anniversary of that interview is Monday, I believe. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, interview with Oprah Winfrey is the most searched interview in Google Trend history. So the only question I have to ask is let me see, how did Oprah say it? Were you silent or were you silenced? Was that the question? I think that was it. Were you silenced or were you silent? No, were you silent or were you silenced? That became the meme of the year, was Oprah asking the Duchess of Sussex that question. No, it wasn't silent. She said something else. Anyway, let's see. Let me see what we have here. Okay, Stacey Dash is doing everything trying to get her her black card back, but it's been shredded. She can't come back. Candace Owens is happy where she is, but someday she wants to be, I mean, she wants to come back. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash from the famous movie Clueless has lived up to the title of that movie. Stacey Dash is absolutely clueless. So, Stacey Dash, were you clueless or were you clueless? Were you clueless or were you clueless? That's the big question that everybody has to ask. But yeah, Stacey Dash, she totally ruined her career. She tried to hitch her wagon to the alt right, and it totally backfired on her. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody knows. Right now, I think the investigation hasn't gone anywhere. I haven't seen, heard, or read anything else about an investigation. I know that's, of course, there's an investigation into her son, the Queen's son. There's also that investigation of one of the Queen's aides that I believe there were like some 5 people or something like that that has a claim against them. So along with the idea of investigating, they also have this lack of diversity thing going on, in particular at Kensington Palace. Kensington Palace, when they and when they say diversity, it's not necessarily based on skin color, based on religion. Sometimes it's just based on someone being Irish rather than being English. That's considered diversity. And of course, as we know, none of the people working for the royal family are allowed to have any type of clerical positions. They have to, you know, pretty much clean the place or whatever, but you don't get a chance to see any paperwork. So, yeah, all of those things came out after they announced this investigation. So I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think the investigation is going anywhere. I think the investigation is stalled. And just like so many other things, um, the investigation was just a diversion, just to try to muddy the waters before the Oprah interview. And after the Oprah interview, especially when the Duchess of Sussex's lawyers said, I want names. We want names, and um, we want to know what we're being accused of. And so at that point, the palace just kind of, started doing Ralph Cramden, homina, homina, homina. They didn't want to have anything else to do with it. So I'm just going to say, I don't think the investigation is going anywhere. I don't think there is an investigation, not a real one. By political watchdog comments, Meghan Markle secretary for the Cambridge's case. Okay. People like that you just can't, they can't ignore. People like that you just can't ignore. They have to be stopped in their tracks. I wish Meghan would have gone after her. And you say, what I love was the shock on Oprah's face when Meghan said it was talks about Archie's skin color. Yeah, I was just, I felt so sad watching the interview. I was very sad. I literally watched the entire interview with my mouth hanging open. Um, okay, I'm so far behind. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do a big scroll. I think that when Meghan had receipts with her lawsuit with the Daily Fail, the palace became scared, especially when she asked for receipts. Yeah, so just so you guys know, Meghan's phone, she couldn't save text messages. They gave her a phone, and the way it was set up, she could not save text messages. I don't think she even had possession of her own emails. So she was at a disadvantage when it came to saving records for herself. The only records that she had available that we know of is what they saved themselves. So when Jason Knopf, I'm sure Jason Knopf had access to all of the Duchess of Sussex's um, I guess text messages and emails. He probably had more, and I'm just saying, I'm guessing this. I don't know it to be true, but I believe he had more access to her material than she had. Harry, I don't know. I guess Harry's kind of used to living in that bubble and not having opportunities to ever be really alone. So, okay, they already discard Aunt uh Jamina Owens, Jemima Owens. Okay, Stacey Dash, like Omarosa, tried to come back to the black community. Yeah, Omarosa. I love the way Omarosa comes out of there and say she has all this dirt and information on Trump, and then all of that just faded away. She just went into obscurity. I don't think Rihanna will ever pal around with anyone from that clan because of ASAP Rocky. Okay. Okay, Prince Harry and the Duchess Meghan had to do the interview to let the world know what was going on. Oh, you do you guys listen to Celibacy? Do you guys listen to Celibacy? They were talking about Will and Jada Smith today. Gosh, that was so interesting. And this is a slightly off the topic, but I want to share this. Okay. So, one of the things that I have not found, well, I'll just put it to you like this. I'm not a big fan of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm not a big fan. I think they talk too much. They talk about their personal. It's embarrassing to me. I don't want to know. Like, it's embarrassing. So I like their work, but I don't really care for them. I separate their work from them. I don't bother, like, watching them on talk shows and stuff. They talk too much. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because on Celibacy, one of them had this theory that the reason why the Will and Jada delve so much into their personal lives and do all this tell-all stuff is because they were in Scientology. And as you know, in Scientology, you have to, have these big confessional things where you tell them your darkest secrets. And they said one of the things that they allegedly have over people like Tom Cruise and um, John Travolta is that they kind of own you in a sense because they record the conversations allegedly when they are having these big confessionals. And so apparently, if it's true that Will and Jada were part of the Scientology, all of those revelations that we learn about them, and you say to yourself, why are they talking about this? It's to preempt any type of embarrassment that may be caused by the Church of Scientology. Got that? Any revelations that comes out from the Church of Scientology, which they have been known to strong arm people and use a lot of coercion based on your private, personal, deepest, darkest secrets. And so that is the alleged possible reason why the Smiths won't stop a talking, is because everybody at the Church of Scientology are obliged to, you know, tell their secrets. And so I couldn't understand for the life of me, why don't they shut up? I don't want to hear all that. Well, that's why. It is alleged that they tell everything to the church. And if you're not, I guess, generous with the church, possibly, if you're not generous with them or if you're not helping them to promote or whatever, then they may come back at you with your words, with your deeds, and they may hold that against you. And I thought about that. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. So again, I apologize. This is a little off topic, but Whatever it was I just read, that's what reminded me to bring that up. But yeah, that is so twisted. But yeah, so it's a lot of celebrities that are literally over the barrel because of their relationship with the Church of Scientology. And I think that the Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, I think that the two of them have gotten in deep with them. And the only way to fend them off is to tell their story themselves. And that way they don't have anything over their heads. So just thought I'd share that. I love Celibacy. I love it. They are so informative. Okay, next slide. So I'm done with this group. On to the next. Okay, so this happened. Now, okay, you guys, I'm going to get a little messy here. A little messy. I hope you don't mind. Now, I saw this photo of the Cambridges, and I'm just like, poor Willie. He doesn't seem to be that into her. I wonder why. You know, they were cosplaying the Sussexes, as I mentioned yesterday. They were cosplaying the Sussexes. For whatever reason, they thought it was necessary to cosplay the Sussexes, right? And it backfired a bit because this little country road walk that they were taking, instead of having those loving glances and stares and everything, they don't seem to have a great connection right now. Okay. Well, Dan Wooten Tootin, that Wooten Tootin Dan Wooten, yes, the calls are coming from inside the house, Dan Wooten. Dan Wooten said that William prefers to be fussy and that Kate, something about Kate going her own way or doing her own thing or something like that. Okay, that's a nice dodge. That's a nice cover. That sounds really nice in print that they are, you know, opposites and that Will is all about duty and serious and that Kate is more engaging with people. Well, and when it comes to duty or engaging, none of that applies to either one of them. They don't give a rat's behind about duty. They suffer through it. They don't actually do it. They just suffer through it. And as far as being relaxed and casual, that's the other thing. They put on a great show sometimes, especially Kate. She knows how to pose and you know give you the photo op. But moments like this, you realize that there is something terribly wrong with them. So at first, I thought it was like a relationship thing, right? And that's probably still the case. But then looking further into it, I found this. Well, I think William was a little bit apprehensive about being around those goats because if you guys remember some time ago, now you see Will was all excited on the way there, and then when they get to the goats, now he's looking rather, I don't know, perplexed. Like, are they making fun of me? Because if you remember, dun dun dun. I don't know if he saw this side by side comparison that I created some time ago. I'm not saying he did, but I'm not saying he didn't. But maybe he thought taking him around those goats were making fun of him. Maybe he thought everybody was just having a big laugh at his expense. And so being around those goats triggered him. And because he was triggered, that's why he was looking so down in the mouth because those goats, and you know, sometimes they like to butt heads with each other, right? Well, if anybody has a head that's just custom made for slamming into something hard like another like animal's head, of course it's Will. So I think I have solved the puzzle, Alex. I will take William is sad about being around those goats for 100. That is why he was looking so down in the mouth. Now, there's another character or should I say, another creature that he's been compared, and that is Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars. Now, I didn't do that one. I will say guilty for this one, but somebody else did that. Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And then the other photo, I just threw that in there just because I think it's so funny. The socks, the pose, the face. They said, uneasy lies the head that bears the crown. Well, by the time that crown gets put upon that fleshy part of his scalp up there, he is going to be a complete wreck. Poor William. Okay, and then of course, I couldn't help but notice that rather startling resemblance to Mr. Burns. I mean, he's Mr. Burns all day long. And then I wasn't through, as you know, back in the, well, I don't know, months ago. I kept looking at that face of his and I said, what does he remind me of? What am I seeing? And then I thought about it. The Shining. Remember that? I started seeing The Shining. So from that, I decided to hijack his image and create The Willing. The tide of terror that swept Britain is here. Yeah, I took a little license with it. Just for fun. I mean, just for fun. I don't suppose he's gonna take a axe and go after anybody, is he? I mean, he hasn't done it in the past, has he? And then, of course, if you saw my video last night or this morning, you may have noticed the Queen taking great delight in seeing her grandson and her granddaughter in law at the NAACP Award. And you could just tell the Queen's face is just like, oh, such fun. Such fun. Philip? Philip? Have you seen Philip? So you can tell that she took great delight in seeing Philip. Philip, they're on, Philip. Oh, that's a portrait. Oh dear. So there you have it. I took a little license with that. That's why I was up so late last night. Once I get those creative like urges, I cannot stop editing. So Gangsta Gang Gan has recovered from the pandemic and she's able to supplement her income with her position at McDonald's. That way she has more time to go and bet on her horses, right? So again, the Queen has recovered. She's doing the night shift over at McDonald's, and on the weekends you can find her at the racetrack betting on horses. I said horses, not that. A real horse, not, you know what I mean. So anyway, our prayers have been answered. The Queen has recovered from her bout of the pandemic. You know, we can't say the other word. So, as Oprah would say, are you betting or were you betting on the horses? Okay. And then, of course, I kept thinking about those photos of the Cambridges fooling around with that rugby ball, right? And it's just like, I don't know, sometimes things pop into my head. And all I could think about was when Paula Dean got hit in the nose with that frozen. All I could think about was when Paula Dean got hit in the nose with that frozen ham. Y'all remember that? When she got slammed in the face with that frozen ham. Somebody yelled, Paula, think fast, and threw that ham at her. That was the only thing I could think about was that frozen ham. And I'm just like, what if they couldn't, especially the Duchess of Cambridge, what if somehow she was unable to grasp that ball as it went flying in her direction? You know, that could be a disaster. I mean, if the worst were to happen, then that means that that would have left her mouth askew. Yeah. So I'm just, I'm just glad that the ball didn't slip past her fingers and that she's okay, because the idea of her holding her snout like Paula Dean, and when I started, and see, my mind was all over the place. I told you I was up late. When I was thinking of somebody throwing ham, I was like, well, what if somebody threw Pierce Morgan? So I guess in some roundabout way, I subconsciously was hoping that somebody would throw Pierce Morgan instead of a rugby ball. And anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So this is why it's good to get at least 8 hours sleep, because if you don't, then all kind of weird stuff start running through your head. And I'm already weird enough without sleep deprivation. So um anyway, a little fantasy I had is that we would have another Paula Deen frozen ham. We have another Paula Deen frozen ham moment. You know, I've been through a lot of things in life, but nobody has ever hurled a frozen ham at my nose. I could only imagine what Paula Deen must have been thinking. I remember when that happened, and I played the video over and over and over again. Hey, Paula. Oh, boy. Bless your bones. Today we're going to have butter kebabs. First, you take a stick of butter, bless your bones, and then you wrap it up in bacon, and then you deep fry it in lard. And that's how we make butter kebabs, Paula Deen style. Bless your bones. Sure enough, bless your bones. Okay, so that's it. I have covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I have completed my slides. And yeah, so if you guys have something you want to talk about, then we can get to that. Oh, that's interesting. What was that? Okay. I was trying to set up something here, but
The Duchess
okay,
and
that's not working
brought
out the way I thought it would.
attention to the landmine.
Okay.
Years old this year, or has she already turned 40? So at 40 years old, she finally. Now they say shy Kate Middleton. I think it's Work Shy Will and Doolittle Duchess Kate Middleton is going to show Meghan Markle how it's done. That's outrageous. How are you going to show Meghan Markle how to work? Let me go on a little bit further, and you can see. Can it really be 20 years since we learned that Kate Middleton was dating Prince William, and over a decade since they became engaged? Are you really celebrating the fact that this woman waited around the royal family for 10 years and then got married, and then it took her another 10 years to find herself? You know, she's supposed to be a housewife with a house full of servants. Just a typical English housewife, I'm afraid. Okay, so it goes on to say, when she and Wills got hitched, some dared to raise concerns, not just that Weighty Katie had taken so long to let the ring slip on her finger, but that having worked only for her mums, Carol's party pieces business and part time at a high street fashion chain, she might be a little work shy. That is the monumental understatement of this new century. She might be a little work shy. Then it goes on to say, would this elegant but quiet young woman really be able to help lead a new generation of royals into the 21st century and secure the future of the House of Windsor? That's a good question. Will she be able to do that? Will she be too tired to show up at work? I mean, she's Catherine the Great. She's got so much on her plate. Well, few doubt now. Well, few doubt that now. Yesterday, the increasingly visible and steely Kate launches her landmark Center for Early Childhood, a groundbreaking project devoted to highlighting how experiences in the first years of life are what make or break for everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to pause right here. Did you notice that she had a folder in her hand? She had a folder in her hand. That was when she cosplayed the Duchess of Sussex, taking a folder into this meeting where she spoke, very nervously spoke. And then she sat at a table because that's her strong suit, is sitting around a table trying to get things done. And of course, she even had the umbrella. All of this was created by her team at Kensington Palace to create this aura of the Duchess of Sussex and the Duchess of Cambridge. Let's continue.
Steely Kate. Oh yeah, yeah. I could imagine she has a spine made of titanium. That one does. And then it goes on to say it's a major scheme that has been 10 years in the making. Okay, that's what she's been doing for 10 years. All right, well, at least she's been busy.
I was feeling particularly shady that night. I made this video some months ago, and the 10 years, I believe I got that from Facts and Two Cents. Let's continue to listen.
Meanwhile, a whole generation of kids she could have helped are already in college. I couldn't make this up. Okay, let me finish. With a full-time staff of 6, a budget of millions funded by outside donations, not the taxpayers. Now, see, up until I read the part, not the taxpayers, I thought with the full staff of 6 people, they were talking about Amber Hall and Kensington Palace Apartment 1 or whatever, which they live in. That's what I thought they were talking about, but I guess not. And enjoying the support of Harvard University at the London School of Economics, it aims to find practical solutions and transform the lives of the next generation. Okay, she's off the couch. She's working, so I shouldn't knock her for that. But the only reason why this jumped out at me wasn't because I was trying to find some comparison drama, but then they used a side-by-side image of the famous iconic photo of the Duchess of Sussex with the Duke of Sussex, and then there's the Duchess of Cambridge, Duchess Doolittle, by herself in the pouring rain going into some office building. I don't know if they saw that image and then they just decided to write this story, but again, it's not helping her. It's not helping her. If anything, it's an indictment, a criticism, a put down of her abilities as an adult who supposedly has a master's degree in art education or whatever it is. You're not helping her. You are not helping this woman. She has a problem. She's work shy, dare I say a bit dull, but that's no criminal offense. And it took her until she was 40 years old to actually make her mark as the Duchess of Cambridge and the future Princess of Wales. It only took 10 years. It only took her 10 years to get married. That's the high achiever she is. It took her 10 years to finally get married, and then another 10 years to actually do something significant as the Duchess of Cambridge and the future Queen of England. I tell you, I couldn't make this up. Okay, blah, 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 splendid endeavor. This is the sort of work that senior royals should be undertaking. Yes, it is, even if it only takes 10 years to get there. So then it seems like they're, okay, well, it doesn't seem like they are trying to big Kate Middleton up after that disaster that she had with Jill Biden, where, let's face it, that was a disaster. If you were on the other side of the pond, you would never know it because it seems like they yanked that footage no sooner than it was released. But, and then there are people that are saying, oh, the reporter wasn't supposed to ask the question. Well, a British reporter won't ask the question, but an American reporter will. And let that put you on notice before you and Workshy will decide to take a North American tour and make your way through the United States.
Yes, yes. I'm going to pause it right there. When they come to the United States, people are going to ask questions. That's inevitable. People are going to ask questions, and um, how will she respond? I'm curious to know what's going to happen when they ask a question. Andrea Mitchell was the one that asked the question when they were what do you call it? When they were with Jill Biden. That was Andrea Mitchell's question. And no sooner did Andrea Mitchell ask that question than all of a sudden they pulled the plug on the interview. So, well, actually, it was like a conference, and Jill Biden had actually brought her notebook and everything, and they were just like, "Well, we're done." And Jill Biden just had this like very confused look on her face. She said, "Well, I mean, I brought my notebook, and and if you just like look at Kate's face here, let me see if I can bring it up.
Year, or has she already turned 40? So at 40 years old, she finally, now
Yeah, Kate, that I didn't doctor that photo. That was Kate. I did nothing to doctor that photo. That was exhausted Kate. That was nervous Kate. She spoke, her arms flailed about a lot. It was really sad to watch. I it and the thing is, they brought like the Queen showed up, Kate, William, Charles, Camilla, all of them showed up for that summit. What was it? The G7, G8, whatever it was. All of them showed up. Kate was completely out of her element, and so was William for that matter. I don't want to just pick on her. William was at a total loss. Yes, the jazz hands. She went into a jazz hand frenzy that day. A jazz hand frenzy. It was. I tell you, if Jill would have been sitting in any closer to Kate, there would have been some type of international incident. I am sure of that. She was arms swelling. You could barely whatever she was saying was barely audible. But yeah, I saved the footage from that event just so you guys know. I kept that particular receipt. You can't find it online, but I saved it. So someday in the future, at a time and place of my choosing, I may have to reintroduce that, but I did save it. Something told me that was a keeper. And sure enough, it disappeared from the airways and nobody has it now. Well, I'm sure a lot of people have it, and I just happen to be one of them. So, like I said, at a time or a place of my choosing, we may have to revisit that moment. just for let me see. Do I have it here? Let me see if I have it. Ah, it won't open. See there? But I do have it. I can't open it up right now. Okay, so let's go to your comments and then we are going to get out of here. 639 people are still here. The queen was concerned that she didn't have a career before joining the family, and Cowshed Cammy called her dim. Yeah, that's and they did nothing to I guess what is the word, disavow anybody, or I'm sorry, disabuse anybody from that theory that the queen did not particularly care for her. They seemed to lean into it instead of lean away from it. They didn't go back and say, "Oh no, that's not true." You see, the queen, no, that didn't happen. The queen was totally alarmed at the notion that she was marrying into the family. So that is true. That did happen. Let me see another comment. Joyce Bolt, you say Jill Biden should have brought crayons and coloring books for Kate. She doesn't have a master's degree. She only has a first degree. Well, they said that art history, that is totally total, and to show you what she thought of it, she never got a job in that field that I know of. Who takes an art history degree and go and work at an express store? I'll tell you who. The Duchess of Cambridge. She takes her art degree and she goes and work at an well, I don't know if it was an express store, but I know it was a clothing store. Something never mind. Something that would no, that's okay. But yeah, that really did happen. Okay, so let me see if I can find one last bit of shady on my way out of here. Um, that one didn't work either. I have the video, I just cannot bring it up where she's sitting there with Jill Biden, but it is I still have it, I don't remember the title of it, but I'm sure it was something with Kate's name on it, whatever it was. Let me see. Oh, I wish I could find that. That would be so much fun right now. But I don't have access to it. Certain formats won't play on the StreamYard. That's the problem. So I guess we'll have to have fun next time about that one. But oh, if I could find it, or at least if I could bring it up. But no such animal today. Let me see if I just put Kate in there and see what happens. Huh. Kate awakens. Should Kate join 40 by 40? Let's try Kate awakens and see what happens. No, that's the same video. It's not there. Yep, sorry you guys. That's not gonna work either. So it'd have been fun. Okay, so anyway, it has almost been 2 hours. So we should probably say farewell for now. Any last comments before we go? Black Queen, you say, I turned fully from Katie after Oprah interview. How are you going to make someone cry on their wedding day and then stay quiet after the racehorses narrative gave you that sympathy? Well, I mean, she's an English rose. We can't have the English rose wilting about, can we? She's the English rose, that's why. Let me see. Okay. Man, I wish I could bring up that video, but I cannot. Oh, that's so sad. Remembrance Day? Nope. I'm just like looking at the titles. I'm just like anxious to be shady. And maybe this is saving me from myself. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't meant to be for that reason. Okay, I have been saved from myself, you all. But I, between you and me, I just wanted to be a little shady. But that's okay. What about this one?
Duke and Duchess of Sussex. This is my own feelings being expressed the only way I know how.
Well, that was my substitute. Oh boy. That was the most fun. Actually, I had a few videos where I had more fun than the law allows, but I had so much fun making that video. The whole time I was making the video, you know what I was doing? I was crying. I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Um that is like one of the best gifts that Princess Diana has ever given me. I'm just going to say that someday, years ago, at a time and place when I didn't even really know much about anything, Princess Diana coined the phrase the Rottweiler. And who knew that in 2021 that I would take that name and run with it? That's why I have to say thank you, Princess Diana, for all that you've done for Harry, and of course, everything that you've done for me. And thank you, Doria, for being a source of strength for the Duchess of Sussex through these difficult times. And thank you all for watching Royal Sussex. Who wants the last word of the day? Let's see. I'll read this one. Queen. Queen Coho. Megan was asked the question about what she thought of the Queen agreeing to her becoming the Queen Coho. Um, she quickly answered she was honored and then walked away. She was honored. Of course, she was honored. I mean, I think she probably orchestrated the entire thing. She's a lot smarter than we give her credit for. I mean, that lady is playing the long game. I mean, everything about her says the long game. So she played the long game in the game, that is, and it looks like she's winning. So, okay, Maureen Lovelock, that's perfect. No bad energy. Thank you so much for that. Love you all, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Remember, every Sunday we have Royal Sussex Live. So I will see y'all at the same time tomorrow. And let's close with our Ginger Avenger. Thank you so much for that, Noreen Lovelock. Thank you for all the super stickers. And for those of you who have sent a PayPal here and there, or perhaps a Cash App, I haven't replied to them just yet, but I shall tonight. Thank you so much in advance. I appreciate everything and all the support that I have received. And also, thank you, moderators, for keeping Royal Sussex a safe space. And some of you all are moderators on other channels, and you have also done a lot to make those safe spaces. It is so valuable for the community that we have this space where we can be free of trolls with their mind games and psychological nonsense. So thank you for that. All right. So with that, let's ginger avenger ourselves out of here.